When ambulances were called to emergencies and the medics who showed up had no significant training in how to treat victims, the men who ushered in the change have been nearly erased from history. In American Sirens, the incredible story of the black men who became America's first paramedics, author Kevin Hazzard, a former paramedic himself, takes a look at the making of the first paramedic unit in the U.S. He joins us now to talk more about it. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to talk about what it was like before those black paramedics started serving Pittsburgh Hill District, a predominantly black neighborhood. You write, Pittsburgh's police ambulances, clunky old trucks known colloquially as Black Betties, carried little more than a stretcher. Cops didn't stabilize or even treat patients, just rushed them to the nearest hospital. If someone was seriously hurt or ill, what type of care could they expect from those medics?
Speed. That was really about it. They really didn't have any equipment. They had very little training. If you're talking about the police ambulance service, I mean, these are guys who are toward the end of their career and who probably had less training than a lifeguard at your local pool. And that's if you were in the city. If you worked in the or lived in the outskirts of town, who would show up would be two undertakers in a hearse.
Tell us about why, when the Freedom House Ambulance Service started in 1967, why they decided to choose the first class of paramedics to be all black men.
Well, there were two things happening at once. One was recognition that guys in hearses and cops in paddy wagons weren't the right people to be transporting patients. So that was one. And so somebody had to develop this doctor, an Austrian anesthesiologist named Peter Saffer, on his own draws up the world's first paramedic curriculum. Problem is he doesn't have any people to carry out this mission that he has. Well, across town, there's a group called Freedom House Enterprises. And Freedom House was created because urban renewal had taken this neighborhood in Pittsburgh called the Hill District and literally scraped it down to the dirt. And what was left of that area turned to despair. So Freedom House Enterprises was an organization that was developed to bring job opportunities to the local black population.
And you write a $35,000 truck and all this equipment, the training, that smug attitude, and you're not panicking. It's one thing to go to school and learn CPR, to trot out mannequins and sit through lectures, but it's something else entirely to actually do it, to be faced with a person whose life you either will or won't save. Talk to us about the mental toll that these paramedics had to face being the first to do this, and what their success rate was like.
Nobody had heard of a paramedic. A paramedic technically did not exist. And yet it was this leap of faith on their part that this idea, that this need for saving lives outside the hospital was going to work. And that was going to be the way that they would make their mark in the world. Within a year, maybe 2 years, a huge study is done to determine just how successful has this program been. And so they compare Freedom House paramedics treating critical patients with the volunteer fire department treating critical patients or the police department treating critical patients. What they found was that with the volunteer firefighters, 80% of the time, they delivered the wrong care. With the police department, 60% of the time, they delivered the wrong care. And with Freedom House, 78% of the time, they delivered the right care. I mean, these guys, right from the get-go, were doing exactly what was needed to be done to save lives. The problem was they were doing it in an era where the city really did not accept them. I mean, on numerous occasions, they would show up to a scene and a patient would refuse to let them lay hands on her because she was white and they were black.
Do you think this is a case of another hidden figures, the idea that this story was untold for so long? I'm curious also if you even learned about this when you went through your own paramedic training.
It is exactly like that case. I spent 10 years as a paramedic. Nobody had ever uttered the words Freedom House in my presence. If you go to EMT school today, you will have to learn about the Napoleonic Wars because Napoleon was the first one to use triage and a transport to get soldiers off the battlefield. So you learn about that. But you won't learn that in 1967, 24 young men from the Hill District in the city of Pittsburgh went through an incredibly arduous training program that would stand up next to anything that's done today and quite literally invented paramedics. EMS was something that had a profound effect on my life. It has a profound effect on millions of lives all over the world every day. And yet nobody knows that it started with these guys right here.
Well, Kevin, we thank you for bringing the story to us and to our viewers. You can purchase American Sirens, the incredible story of the black men who became America's first paramedics, wherever books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.